What's up guys, we got another video coming from Birmingham Garretts Green. This one I call Route 4 and it's a little bit different because it was a mock test I conducted on one of my learners. So that way I know quite a lot of what happened on the cabin inside the driving test. This one is going to be split in a couple of different parts, and the full video that isn't cut up is going to be put on that other social media platform that I have located in my profile. So to see the full thing, you can click over, have a look there at the full thing straight away, or you can wait for me to upload the 3 different parts. Now, once the month of Ramadan is finished, I will be offering free mock tests once a month to somebody who is happy to have it recorded inside the cabin, similar to DGN driving school and Clearview driving. If you're interested, drop a comment and I'll message you. So let's get on with this test. At the end of the road, right. My student notices the keep clear on the floor. They don't think that they can clear it, so they hold back. This is really good to do as you cannot be entering keep clears on your test, or once you pass. At the roundabout, right. They don't signal straight away as there is a right turn there. They wait just till after the turn and then they put their right signal on. This way it doesn't mislead drivers into thinking they're turning into McDonald's. The white Prius is going straight ahead, so there's quite a large gap to move out at the moment, but they are hesitant at doing so. They pick up their first volt here for undue hesitation. Coming off this roundabout can be quite tricky at sometimes. You need to make sure you stick to the left as it is technically 2 lanes at the moment, and have a mirror check to the right to make sure there's no overtaking vehicles. They do this perfectly. In a moment you may notice the wipers going crazy. They've been asked the show me tell me question. It was, can you show me how you would use the front windscreen wash? To begin with, they get it a little bit wrong, but they don't lose control of the car at any time, and they do eventually suss it, so they're absolutely fine here and didn't pick up any faults. You will notice the rear wiper stays on throughout the whole of the test. You don't get any faults for this, but you might find it annoying. The thing I liked about this drive is, even at this point, they're checking mirrors to make sure there's nobody breaking the rules and trying to overtake them. They've now been asked to take the next road on the left. At the end of the road, I would like you to turn left. If you look to the right, you'll see that the bushes are blocking the view. They reduce their speed really well, they angle themselves perfectly and keep the car rolling so they can see their view to the right. They emerge perfectly with a really good example of a controlled roll. I can't take away faults, but I can give gold stars. I know you may think it looks quite slow at the moment, but the speedo at the bottom really is not accurate at all. Throughout this whole thing, they were doing the appropriate speed. It says 23 miles per hour, but it's run off of a GPS speedo and they're not the best. In my car, I've got 3 different speedos you can look at that all have matching speeds, and all of them were showing about 29 miles per hour. When the pedestrians started to cross, they came off the gas slightly and they looked in their mirrors. Perfect handling. I now said I would like you to pull up on the left anywhere safe, ignore driveways on this occasion. I'm now setting up the sat-nav for the independent driving part of the test. They'll be following the sat-nav for roughly about 15 minutes. Once it's set up, I will then say, thank you, move off when you're ready. It is the next road on the left. It will be the next road on the right. They steer a bit too early and end up a little bit on the other side of the road, crossing over the lane. If they'd steered a tiny bit later, it would have been perfect. Before you say it's too harsh marking, imagine if there had been a vehicle on the other side of that road turning right. This whole stretch of road is all about safety and mirror checks and appropriate speed. Constantly as my students going down this road, they're checking their mirrors to make sure they have enough space and see if there's any passing vehicles or cyclists. It can be quite a tricky road to navigate, knowing whether the other cars are going to stop or whether you can keep going. They handle the whole thing perfectly. At the end of the road right and then next left. The view of this road is quite good. They could have kept the car rolling and moved, instead they came to a stop. The car that's to the right was signalling off, so it was safe to move out. This stretch here, lots of mirror checks required. When you move out to the right, centre right mirror. When you move back to your side, centre left mirror. If you see anything that makes you alter your speed, for example, the gentleman getting out of his car, you should check your centre mirror as well. Here, she checks her centre mirror before she starts reducing her speed slightly for the passing pedestrians. We'll now be taking, at the end of the road, right and then next left. If you haven't done this junction with your instructor, I highly recommend it. You have to position in the box that has the right arrow. You can only emerge when there's no oncoming traffic from the right. To begin with, I thought my student was going to position themselves in the right box, but they corrected it at the last second. It would have been a serious fault if they had have entered that box. At this point they have good observations, checking to the left, making sure it's safe to emerge, and then they move out. They've been asked to pull up on the left anywhere safe. Coming up's a bizarre junction. They've been told at the end of the road to go left. You'll notice the road bends to the left. That would be the easiest one to take for a left turn. Technically you can follow the road all the way to the end and then turn left, but it's not as easy. Now the issue is they had their signal on at this point, so it looked like they were turning left when they weren't. Because of the angle they're now at, it's very difficult to keep good lane discipline here. They end up too much onto the right hand side and pick up a fault for lane discipline. Again, it could have been a very different situation if there would have been any other road users on the road at that time. So notice how that one decision caused two minor faults within 1 minute. They've now been asked to pull up on the right and reverse 2 cars' lengths. The start of the manoeuvre went fantastic with good all-round observations. As it got nearer to the end of the manoeuvre, however, they were mainly focused on their mirror and their positioning, and that was it. When they realised they'd been staring in the mirror for a bit, they did carry on with the all-round observations. So they picked up 1 minor here for the observations. And before all you TikTok warriors say, oh, well, there's no pedestrians on the road, you don't need to do a right shoulder check. It wasn't just about the right shoulder check. It's about not using your reversing mirrors as a primary focus of where you're looking. If you guys aren't familiar with my car, I've got a mirror on the right hand side and the left hand side, which is used solely just for reversing. It shows your positioning to the curb so you don't have to guess it. It's like if you have reverse cameras in your car. If the primary focus and you're just staring at that camera, seeing what's behind you, and that does go down as a serious fault. Even on the cameras as well, it has a little warning at the bottom saying you must be aware of your surroundings or something similar to that on them. At the end of the road, right. At the end of the road, left. So at the moment, my student is following the sat-nav. A lot of their test is done, they've only got 5 minor faults at the moment. The sat-nav's currently just showing to follow the road ahead. After the roundabout, they get a bit confused with the road layout and they think the road follows around to the right, but it doesn't. That's actually a right turn. They see the van taking it and they think they should follow it, so they immediately move over to the right on the wrong side of the road without doing any observations or any types of signals whatsoever. It was also done at quite some speed. There was a car behind them and a pedestrian passing them at that time, so I did put this down as a serious fault. Going the wrong way in a driving test isn't a problem as long as you do it safely. If the observations had been there and they looked into the road, reduced speed a bit, it would have been absolutely fine and it would have been one minor fault. If when you're following the sat-nav you do go the wrong way, it'll just auto recalculate. If it doesn't, the examiner will just say where to go until it does fix itself. At this point, the sat-nav had recalculated, so they're just following it for now. If you are waiting at traffic lights for quite a while, I'd normally recommend putting in neutral for a second, handbrake up just so your feet don't get too tired. I only do that if you know that they are lights where you're going to be waiting there for a while, because some of them do change quite quickly. Down this street has a lot of potential for meeting situations with oncoming vehicles. The usual mirror checks I go on about all the time is crucial down here. Checking your centre left mirror when you move back to the left, and at the moment they should be checking their centre right mirror as they move back over. There could be a cyclist passing them on either side. Now on this junction they do take it quite wide, but there was no other vehicles on the road at that time. They got one minor fault. People can sometimes get confused at this junction, but the blue arrow tells you what side you must go on. At the end of the road, left. At the roundabout, straight ahead. When they entered the roundabout, because it's straight ahead, ideally they'd be using the 12 o'clock rule. However, because it's a single laned roundabout, it doesn't matter that they went to the inside first. They did look over their centre and left mirror before they moved back for their exit. They leave good clearance between themselves and the cars parked up on the left down this whole stretch. When another car does come closer, they reduce the speed and they check the left mirror to make sure they're not too close to the parked vehicles. Some people can find this junction quite tricky. They're turning right at the moment and it can be quite a busy one, people going quite fast. They do wait for a suitable gap and emerge nicely. At the moment the sat nav showing at the end of the road right. It's quite misleading because it looks like there's a right turn there. They don't fall for that trap however, and they stick to the right and take it correctly. A lot of people think this stretch is a 40, it is not, it's a 30 mph. I've shown it to you in a few of my videos before going the other direction. Please remember as well the GPS speedo in the bottom is not accurate, they are doing the correct speed limit at the moment. taking next road on the right. There can sometimes be a lot of shoppers here trying to get into their cars. Make sure you're always scanning the pavements, seeing if there's any pedestrians that are going to be stepping out into the road. That is now the end of the independent driving. They was told to ignore driveways on this occasion. This is quite a large crossroads, I think possibly one of the biggest ones in Garretts Green. They handled the whole thing absolutely perfectly. They're now heading back to the test centre with just 6 minor faults and 1 serious fault. For a first time mock test, it's an absolutely fantastic result. The 1 serious fault that was made is quite easy to correct. If you were getting results like this on your mock test, I would expect you to have a driving test booked in relatively soon.